What's good with it? Quick video, y'all. See, one thing we gotta realize, we gotta learn how to control our mind, you know. And this goes for everybody, not just the guys, for the women too, but especially us guys, because we go through a lot of shit that we don't necessarily talk about, right? And so what happens is we don't talk about it, then you keep it inside. And then you start thinking and overthinking. Then you become anxious, Then you really can't be yourself, right? You really can't live life. Because one thing you gotta remember is that your mind could either be a paradise or it could be a prison. It's all up to you and how you use it. You see, the mind is a tool, right? You use it for what you need it, and then you're supposed to put it away. You're not supposed to live inside your head, right? Because when you live inside your head, it's hard to progress. It's hard to elevate. It's hard to get shit done, right? See, one way to quiet the mind is by moving, right? Is by putting in work, putting in action. Don't focus on, the ego, because the ego will have you thinking that you need to do this, have you thinking like you need to control the situation. The ego is always going to freak out. That's the ego's job, right? It's trying to survive. It's trying to protect itself. So the ego is always going to worry about different things. And so you have to learn to quiet the mind, right? Once you learn how to quiet the mind, life becomes easier. It really does. Because if you're at peace in here, then whatever's going on around you, it won't affect you, because it's not about, I always say this because this is a great metaphor, but a ship doesn't sink by the water, by being inside the water, by the water being on the outside. A ship sinks by when the water gets inside the ship, right? So us as men, us as humans, we sink when we allow things to come inside and drown us, pretty much, when we drown in our thoughts, so that's why you got to keep moving. That's why it's good to have a purpose, especially as a man. It's good to be chasing after something, chasing after goals, right? Because if you're so focused on something, you're going to have like tunnel vision. You're not going to be worrying about this. You're not going to be worrying about that. Cut off the news. I'm going to tell you, cut off the news. It ain't nothing but bad shit that's making you scared, making you worried. Stop watching the news. Okay, that's one thing. But yeah, when you have something to go after, it's like you're focused on that. So you don't have time for the other shit. You feel me? So you need to make sure you're chasing something, that you have a passion, that you're dedicated to something. That when you wake up, you're like, okay, I'm focused on this. Because if you focus on the work, then that's going to allow you to improve. That's going to allow you to get better. If you focus on the thoughts inside your head, then you're going to be stuck. Simple as that. You're going to be scared to take that step. You're going to be scared to do things that you want to do out of fear, right? Or you're going to be scared to let that girl go out of fear. You're going to be scared to let that man go out of fear. Whatever it may be, all because it's in the mind. And see, this is what keeps a lot of men in bad relationships too. We could relate this to dating. It's because dudes be scared that, I'm not gonna be able to find someone like her. I'm not gonna be able to live without her. These are the things that your mind will tell you. But if you ever been there, once you break free and break away from that and still take that step and quiet the mind, you realize you just fine, right? When you quiet the mind, you'll do just fine. Real talk. When you get out your head and get into some action, then you're going to lead to satisfaction. You feel me? But it all starts with just not listening to the things that you tell yourself sometimes. Because a lot of times you'll tell yourself negative things. That's not true. That's not true. You'll be overthinking about something, and when whatever it is you was overthinking about, you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought. You know, you was just tripping out. You was creating stories in your head, creating all these different lies and shit. But no, use your mind for what you need to use it for, as in work, being creative, you know, whatever it may be, and then you put it away. You know, you don't keep it out, because if you stay in the mind too long, it's gonna be a problem. And another thing about having a purpose and doing something, see, a idle mind is the devil's playground, right? So when you just sitting at home and you just, you know, on your phone, not doing much, you know, you ain't taking care of no business, you ain't working out, then that's when the devil sneak in, right? That's when the devil come in, start telling you ain't good enough, you know, starts interrupting your thoughts with all this negativity, because the devil can only make you think you're not worthy. That's the devil's biggest trick. Get inside your head, make you think something, and then once you believe, then you start to act whatever that is out. And that's what affects your surroundings. But every time you have a negative thought, every time you have a fearful thought of, oh, I'm scared to do this, I shouldn't be doing that, blah, 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 chances are, do it. Because usually whatever you're scared of, on the other side, I'm telling you, is reward. On the other side of risk, most of the time, is reward. But if you don't take that risk, if you don't take that leap of faith, you would never know. You would never know. You know? And this goes back to why I say we need relationship with God, because that would help. You know? Because then you be able to let go and let God. Let go of all the false thoughts, the false beliefs, you know. Who cares what people telling you? Don't let people put negative shit in your head. You know, a lot of people project just because they can't do what you can do, right? And so they'll try to make you think you can't do it either. Nah, that's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. So, yeah, just a quick video, especially us as men. You got to make sure your mind is right, right? Because you can't lead. We talk about leading women, being able to lead. How you going to lead if you can't even quiet your own mind, if you can't lead yourself? You can't lead nobody else. So it starts with you. Before you help somebody else put on their mask, you got to put on your mask, right? So before you help somebody else, you got to make sure you good. And if you good up here, you'll be good everywhere else in more ways than one. Because, again, what goes into your subconscious as well determines your reality. All those engraved thoughts, all those beliefs that's ingrained in your subconscious, that plays out, right? Because subconsciously, you're manifesting the things that you believe. That's why, even in the Bible, it said, if you're fearful, then chances are, whatever you're scared of, it's going to come to pass, right? If you have faith, whatever you have faith in will come to pass, along with action. But we gotta change the way we think, especially about ourselves. Change your perspective on things, and then you'll be better off. But I know I said a quick video, but yeah, I just had to get that out, man. Like, comment, subscribe, give your boy some feedback. To the next video, you already know what it is. It's lit.